Falcon 9. Making contact at point 003. Unknown horizon.
Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm Ralph.
I'm James.
And today we're kind of going to be talking about the Mandalorian Season 3 Disney Gallery documentary, kind of.
A little bit, I'm sure. I'm sure it'll come out.
But yesterday, Lucasfilm dropped the new Ahsoka trailer. And I think I kind of want to talk about that more.
Yeah, me too, 100%.
Oh.
So I watched the documentary a few nights ago because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to watch it. I've got quite a busy week and everything. So I was like, I'm going to watch it now because I've got the time to give to it. And also, I don't think there's going to be anything like groundbreaking in there. It came out a few weeks ago. If there was, we would have probably heard about it. If we'd known that this trailer was coming out yesterday, this episode would 100% be about that regardless, sort of thing. We would have just scheduled it as that. But we're still going to talk about the documentary a little bit. But
what's funny is I literally like did the artwork yesterday. I had a busy weekend. I did the artwork yesterday and got the show prepped for today and was about to post it. And it said like trailer dropped 33 seconds ago. I'm like, okay. And so I changed the art and put a little Ahsoka down there, and it's like bonus.
So yeah, Ralph literally he sent over the original artwork for it to me, and then within seconds, by the time I'd pulled my phone out and seen what the message was, it was like a link to the trailer. I was like, okay, great, cool. Guess I'm gonna watch that right now. And I think I'm gonna change the art. So
yeah,
that's how it goes. We work on the fly.
I mean, I almost could have just changed the episode.
We could have,
I mean,
but
I still can.
I mean, still can't. Let's see how much of it.
I think what's going to end. I think this is what's going to happen. I'm going to change the artwork so it says Ahsoka trailer discussion, bonus Mandalorian season 3 gallery, Disney gallery.
I think that's probably wise. That might catch people a bit more. Hopefully,
this is everything's going to change the title.
So
of the
welcome
show.
to Live Action Star Wars. We're talking about the Ahsoka trailer, and we'll also probably touch on the Disney gallery.
Right. And just so everyone knows, I've been kind of busy. We were going to do a data link last week, and I wish we had, because plans fell through on another thing because I was busy. We were going to talk about Dial of Destiny last week, and I'm like, I'm doing with Jabe, and also I'm just swamped. But because I'm swamped, it's up to you. I mean, you could do it, but I'm not going to be here next week for data link. So I'm going to be at Comic-Con.
I'm around. Maybe if there's anyone else that's seen Dial of Destiny and wants to talk about it, it's been a few weeks. We could sort of go full spoiler without any worry of people being spoiled or anything. Like, it's short story. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really great. I heard you briefly mention it on Damalar's this past episode, saying that you really enjoyed it. So maybe if we could do a data link about it down the line when we are both available to do it, maybe
like when it releases on digital.
Yeah, something like that, maybe.
Which might be sooner than later.
Probably. Yeah, especially with the way that box office is going.
You know what? Everyone complains about the box office or says, oh, it failed. But the thing is, guess what? It's probably because it's like, if you're not into seeing it, it's going to be out on Disney Plus.
You're going to wait. It's the same with all of these movies that are going straight to a streamer within a couple of months. Like, they're all like, unless, I don't know, there's certain things. For me, it was a big draw to go to the cinema to see it because it's indie. You know, it's one of those franchises for us. But there are other films that I'm happy to skip. Most of the Marvel films these days, like, I'm like, be out in a couple of months. Like, I'll catch it then. Like, I don't need to rush out to see them.
I saw it twice.
Great. There you go.
Yeah. I was watching it and I was thinking about it like after I was done watching it. I'm like, man, I really, really like that movie. And I kept thinking about like just how, I don't know, not perfect it was, but like just the way it I don't know.
Let's save it because I'd like to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Jeremy Kelly just mentioned here
maybe
that
do Monday. Let's do Monday.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tuesday or something.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. Jeremy Kelly says, quick screenshot of the current artwork. So we have the original Boba Fett with firing rocket version of the episode. I love that. It's going to be the chase card. So yeah, get it where you can, because it's the chase card of our collectible cards. Which one day?
Yeah, but this is also one of the first times, I think, our episode 1 episode with Patrick Kottner. We had gone live like minutes after they dropped the Obi-Wan trailer.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the only episode where we also talked about another thing during an episode. And I didn't really, it doesn't say that on the artwork.
Yeah.
And so when I went to do this artwork, I'm like, how do I put this Ahsoka? And so I just grabbed the Star Wars card art. That seemed to work. So I might actually go back and add that little burst with the bonus.
Yeah.
Thing on that episode.
It's one of those things that, like, when you say, I'm going to change the artwork and I'm going to do something, I don't ever know what it is, but I know that it's always going to be something fun like that. That is, it's very similar to something that is in the Ahsoka trailer. That it's if you see it and if you recognize it for what it is, you get a kick out of it, but it's not in your face. It's not so jarring. But I'll get to that when we talk about the Ahsoka trailer. I feel like maybe we should just do a quick bit about the Disney Gallery first, so that we don't completely ignore it.
Yeah, this is pretty much the title of this episode. Everything's going to change. The artwork, everything's going to change. But I'll put a little Filoni in the corner bonus. Disney Gallery discussion. But yeah, let's talk about it for a little bit, because there isn't too much about it.
I think it's kind of what we've come to expect with these Disney galleries. They're really good. I enjoy watching them. You don't really learn much from them that you've not seen before.
I'll tell you one thing that you do learn, and is what they were thinking story-wise that really didn't connect in the show.
I agree.
It's them sort of explaining why they did the things they did, and I'm like, it doesn't come through.
No, and and the way that they explain it, I'm like, cool, that sounds great. That
sounds great.
Sounds really good. I really appreciate, and I now that I know that that's what you were going for, I'm like, okay, cool. You missed a little bit, but I know that that's what you were going for, and I kind of always hoped and assumed that that's what they had something in mind, and it just didn't quite land. And we talked about it in the episodes where it's like, and even in the interviews for this, bonus dog, Ellie.
Yay.
They when they are interviewing Filoni, he's in his Ahsoka crew hoodie sort of thing. Like, you know that he wasn't really around for much of Mando this season, and it's weird. We're like, you don't know until you are missing a core element of the crew that. Yeah, maybe that's the magic that it was missing this season.
Maybe. But it also there's a thing in there where it almost sounds like they're like, if you didn't like season 3 of Mandalorian, it also sounds like they're throwing Rick Famuyiwa under the bus a little bit.
There was a lot of Rick.
That was how my cynical brain was taking it.
I hope that's not the case, because I really enjoy Rick, and I've liked all of the episodes that he's directed. I think he's a very good director outside of Star Wars as well. So I hope that that's not what they're doing intentionally, but we'll see. Right. Bryce Dallas Howard's still very glowing. She's great when she's in interviews. She's just so enthusiastic about it all, and it's still jarring to hear her speak in such like depth knowledge and be all excited about seeing these guys. And who was it that she was giving a hug to? And she's like, I've not seen. Oh, it was Ahmed Best. She's there on set giving Ahmed Best a big hug. Just be like, I've not seen you since I was 16 and stuff, because she was hanging around the sets of the prequels. It's like, that's lovely. That's great.
Yeah, I give her something.
Yeah, really.
Give her something.
I mean,
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't.
She mentioned this was her 4th season in the Mandalorian family. I'm like, 4th season, and I was like, oh yeah, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. And
she's like counting that as just a Mandalorian season, which it should be.
It is, yeah.
The Jon Favreau was saying that you expect Din to get the Darksaber and become the leader of Mandalore, and he said like, oh, but it's actually Bo
Oh,
that does it, and if you follow the hints, the subtle hints through the series, you get that. I'm like, subtle hints? Kind of, we
we've been
kind of
beaten over the head with it.
yeah. I'm like, that's not very subtle. But what I was mentioning about them explaining like the story, and it sounds great, but it didn't necessarily come through in the things, was Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
There was a bit with Moff Gideon where they're talking about he's trying to get every tech across the galaxy, every artifact or every like ancient weapon or any new weapon, as much Beskar soldiers and stuff.
Yep.
But the problem is what he really wants is the Force. And that I was like, that's cool. Doesn't come across at all.
No,
like
again,
like,
it's one of those things that either like they're saying about all these subtle hints, and it's like they're either being too on the nose with some of the stuff, or they're too subtle with some of the other bits and bobs. Because yes, he's been after Grogu since the very first episode. That's been like the mission is to get the child. But
because
like, and I think a lot of us had sort of put together a little bit there. It's like, okay, he wants the Force. He's trying to harvest the Force. It's the M count, the midichlorians and everything. That he's trying to figure out a way of injecting himself with that. But I don't know. They didn't quite get there.
Yeah, it felt like mostly he's just doing it to clone himself. It made me like the character more because the Empire's done, so he's not really beholden. But he's not part of anything. He's not part of he's his own guy.
Yeah,
he wants so bad to be a Jedi. He wants so bad to be a Mandalorian, and he keeps getting rejected at every level.
Yeah, I think based on his age and stuff, he probably served. He probably served in the Republic with Jedi, like saw Jedi around and stuff. So he probably had quite a high admiration, because it's always seemed like that he had a high admiration for the Mandalorians. And so when he got the chance to wipe them out and sort of become one of them, or in his own mind become one of them, or perfect them.
But him constantly being rejected.
Yeah.
You know, when the Mandalorian armor he makes fails him, when the Darksaber fails him,
when the Shadow Council, the Shadow Council, at least they definitely shun him. They're not a big fan of his. Like, he is definitely out on his own, doing his own thing, kind of against their wishes. So yeah, he is the dark horse of the Empire, of whatever bit that he's in. Yeah. Tragic character.
It's almost like Krennic. It's almost like Krennic, who spent all these years building this thing and gets no credit.
Has someone come under? Like, for him, for Gideon, it's essentially, at this point, it's Thrawn. They're all just going Thrawn, and he's going, fuck you. What about me? Like, what have I been doing? Like, yeah.
And that's the thing, is we don't, like, maybe it'll come up, but so far, like, we don't know his motives, other than the way it feels like is he found an empty spot in the galaxy and he's trying to take it over. But I feel like if you go from the angle of he's just constantly being rejected and he's turning into like a toxic man with, no self-esteem, he's just trying to take over anything he could grab onto. And with the Darksaber being destroyed, it probably meant more to him that it was destroyed than it does to Bo.
Like, he did it out of spite because he was like, if you can't have it, if I can't have it, no one can. Crunch. But yeah, that deep down he's like, when I win this, because he never thought he was going to lose, when I win this, I'm going to rebuild this thing and it's going to be better than ever. It's going to be
So,
and it's again, it's all there. It's just, it wasn't quite done.
It wasn't there. I didn't realize it till now. I mean, granted, it took me probably 30 viewings of the prequels to understand how awful Mace Windu was.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's it's only the most recent
on this show.
And I think we both came to Mace Windu sucks kind of realization while we've done some of our prequel coverage.
His relationship with Anakin is so
it's
combative.
It's
at every single angle,
right from the get-go, right from that first scene that they have together.
with where even the way he's holding the monitor
so
with the
dismissive.
cup, the ship, the speeder, the cup, like he's just sitting there and like he's so dismissive from the jump.
Yep.
And like, I mean, say what you will about the prequels, but George Lucas had a vision, and he knew what Mace Windu was. And I'm hoping that this Heir to the Empire movie sort of explores this, and I could see Moff Gideon in front of Thrawn on his knees crying and saying how none of this, he can't get a hold. He's worked for everybody and nobody wants him. He's tried to do everything he can in the universe and has been rejected.
And I think the way that they could go with Thrawn on that is, Thrawn from the books, he's not Vader. He doesn't go around punishing people for mistakes like outright. He will reward people for doing good in the Empire. Like if someone's got a good idea, he's open to suggestion more than Vader ever was, or a lot of the old Imperials were. So when someone does something or speaks up, he's like, that's a good idea. Or no, we're gonna do it my way, and this is why. But yeah, I could see that, and I could see him sort of almost forgiving Gideon, and then Gideon being like even more lethal because he's now got that leadership and sort of the recognition that he craves. Yeah.
It's essentially what Palpatine did to Anakin. It was like, I can give you what you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's more dangerous than ever. But I'm hoping that's in there somewhere, because this conversation where he says that he can't have the Force, so he's a big a-hole. Like that was so intriguing to me, and more intriguing than what we got on the show. So hopefully they expound on that. He's still out there, right, Gideon?
I think so. Even like we don't know which one was a clone, which one like was real, or all sorts. When there's clones involved, you can never completely write a character off like that.
He fell down a hole, right?
Yeah,
a hole of fire in a full Mandalorian suit. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, I think so. Carl Weathers, absolute gem. He's so fun. He's just having a blast. Like Carl Weathers in director mode, still, it feels like the Carl Weathers character in Arrested Development got himself a directing gig.
Yeah.
Like it feels like at the end of the day, he takes any scraps that are left over and he makes a stew out of it. Like that's just what he's doing. Like
Stevie mentioned that while we were watching it.
That's just who I feel like he actually is. I feel like Arrested Development is the most true portrayal of Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
He's great. He's fun.
I don't think there's really a lot else to discuss.
No Pedro Pascal. Like, no Pedro Pascal whatsoever.
Not even once.
Not even once. They didn't even get him for a sit-down interview.
It's good that they're not shying away from that. They really leaned into the stunt performer and Wayne. What's his name?
The body double, like the guy in the suit, the main guy in the suit, and then the stunt version. They didn't get much in the way. I think they could have interviewed those guys a bit more. And I'm sure they did, but they could have used that footage a bit more. But they've been acknowledging it all this season. They've been in the credits as much as Pedro, so that's nice. That's good.
And I kind of want to bring something up with the whole Jack Black and Lizzo thing.
Yeah.
Like, if any of us were cast in Star Wars, we would be so happy. We would be so happy. Let them have their fun. Just let them have their fun. They look like they got to be in a Star Wars and were excited about it.
So excited.
And like, how could you just shit on that? Like they were great on the show. They were really fun. I think they were perfectly cast for the characters that they were playing. These weird
and I feel like you cast those two, you know what you're getting. Like you can't ever be surprised that Jack Black's gonna give you a different read and a different song and dance every single take. Like that's just who he is. That's what he does. Like yeah.
Brandon Wayne. Brandon Wayne
is
he's like John Wayne's grandson or something.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. That's crazy. Him as a gunslinger, then that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I think that was the whole thing. Was he had that John Wayne swagger, I guess.
Sort of see it now as well. Like when you see him, it's like, yeah, he's got that sort of rugged face.
But I mean, it was fine. It was a fine documentary. I just like them all, seeing them all happy. I think Jon Favreau's hilarious to me. He's the guy who's like, I think this is gonna be, I think this will be cool. He's like, I want these things to look cool, and wouldn't this be cool? But then like Filoni saying things like, he's like, I guess we'll stick Baby Yoda in a.
Yeah, he was like, I didn't want him. I didn't want him there in the first place. Like,
yeah, and you could see that's the dynamic. Jon Favreau's like, IG-11 as a mech with Baby Yoda in it. That's cool. That's what he did with his toys. He broke his toys and shoved a Yoda into his IG-88 Kenner toy, and he's like, "We're doing this," or glued it. And Dave Filoni's like, "Don't mess up your toys."
Yeah,
like,
he's got reverence for it because that's who he is.
These toys should be on a shelf. And so you're getting like these two guys, these two ideals. Like,
that's why when they work together well, they work really well together, I think. But
yeah,
it's when you take one of those away from the thing, it's like, it's still there, but not fully. Yeah.
But you could see this definitely like solidified what I thought was going on, which is Jon Favreau will break his toys having fun.
Yeah.
And Dave Filoni is like,
now I've got
them on the shelf and enjoying them and
putting them where it's relevant and like pairing off characters that make sense.
Just stuck these kids in a room with a bucket of action figures, and they're just like, oh man, it's there. Yeah, you can see it. But I mean, I don't have much else to say about the documentary, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm just like, I want to talk about this Ahsoka trailer. I think we should move on and talk about the Ahsoka trailer before I go to work. I brought it up.
Yeah,
I got the thing. I don't think we need to sit through. I don't think we need to sit through and go through it frame by frame. I say frame by frame, but for a bit.
Yeah.
I
mean, I feel like we're gonna talk over it and stuff. Like this shuttle, it's from here. I was like, oh, is that like one of Krennic's shuttles? But then you see it a bunch from the front, and it's not. It's got like the pod from the Clone Wars cartoon, the Republic ones.
What do you think of those blue suits? Those blue Rebel suits?
They're similar to the ones that we saw. They're New Republic.
New Republic.
Yeah, so we saw.
It's really hard. I'm in Rebels mode right now, where we just got to the part where Thrawn faced off against Bendu.
Oh wow, yeah.
I don't like Bendu. I'm hoping we don't see Bendu in any live action.
I don't think we will. It's a weird character. I don't hate it. I like the idea of it probably more than the execution of it. Let's go with that.
Right.
We saw
but I keep thinking this is pre Star Wars, but we're posed.
It's still posed. This is Mando timeline. We saw these guys in Mandalorian on that prisoner ship. Matt Lanter was wearing one of these uniforms. But again, I really like that we've got like the Return of the Jedi officers as well. Yeah. That we see later on. Yeah.
Yeah. In order to create. Man, they're just forced using. So these guys, I'm assuming, are like offshoots of Inquisitors.
So the way that he's talking and the way he mentions some stuff later on about there, I think we should pause there because I've got something about that as well. He definitely knew Anakin because he says to Ahsoka later on, he's like, Anakin spoke very highly of you. I think he was a Jedi. I think he was a Jedi who survived Order 66. He's been in hiding. He's now taken an apprentice. I don't know who he's necessarily working for. Maybe Thrawn, maybe not Thrawn, maybe against Thrawn, but we'll see. To me, he's the Juris Sabaoth like replacement. If you're doing Heir to the Empire, he's the Force user that Thrawn is going to use. Like he doesn't fully trust him. He's a bit rogue. He's a bit wild. He's a bit out there, but he's filling that role.
Right.
I just finished reading Heir to the Empire. I'm going to start reading Dark Force Rising tonight. Like I'm back in 1991 mode with the books that I'm reading, and it's great. So yeah, I'm pulling all these connections completely. I think Jeremy Kelly is saying here, so I think more Jedi survived Order 66 than died in Order 66. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of them that survived, but that's fine. I don't mind it. When he's on that ship, because we see Morgan Elsbeth from The Mandalorian later in this trailer, I gotta think that he's breaking her out of there at the beginning of this. That's where I think this orb in the middle of this statue,
right?
The markings on it, I can't place it, but they look really familiar. And I don't know if it's
thinking the same thing.
I can't place it.
It's something from like a different, not from Star Wars.
Maybe not. It might be like indie or something. Like, but the way that it's not symmetrical. It's like there's rings on it. But I've seen it somewhere. I've sort of very similar.
Yeah.
And
it's like something out of Stargate.
Yeah, or I was thinking like it's been a while since I played them, but any of like the Uncharted games or anything, something like that, maybe.
But the design, the curved lines looks like it's something, and I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there has done a.
It could be like a World Between Worldsy sort of design. From this trailer, I don't think we're going to see World Between Worlds.
I'm not a fan of that. That's the two things about Rebels I don't care for is Bendu and the War Between Worlds World Between Worlds.
I think that there's going to be maybe reference to it, but I don't think we're going to go into that world at all. But like all the lines and the star charts and stuff like that, I think there's going to be reference to it, and it makes sense because of like Ahsoka coming back and that, like that they might try to access that or look through that, but I don't think that is. I don't think we're going to see it. I think that it's something else that we're seeing and that we feared before could be World Between Worlds.
Of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
This.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
And there she is. That's such as you've never dreamed. We saw in the first trailer, the first teaser, we saw a bit of that sort of the stuff all glowing behind, and I think a lot of people are going, "Oh, World Between Worlds." Now I think it's this temple. It looks like the one on Tython that we saw in Mando season 2, and maybe an old Jedi temple, maybe an old Sith temple, maybe an old Night Sister temple because she looks quite Night Sistery there. So maybe it's something to do with that. And I think that's going to be where they're trying to access some star maps or something like that.
There. Yeah, I feel like that we've sort of been mentioning this with Bad Batch and Mando and Book of Boba Fett and stuff, that they're trying to close sort of or explain the Palpatine returns a little bit more.
Yeah.
So this might be something that gets us into that territory.
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of looks like an Exegol type of place, but
something similar, if not there exactly, but something similar. But the way that she's dressed, when we get the close up of her, she looks quite Night Sistery there with like all the red and everything, and the hair. Yeah. Like Night Sisters generally don't use lightsabers. Ventress did, but they have quite a similar forcey techniques and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I'd be fine with it.
Power, such as you've never dreamed.
My only hope for this show is that it's like however many episodes it is, that it's like super thought out. Because with Mandalorian, we're getting the sort of the procedural, which is fine sometimes. I don't know. I'm hit or miss on them. There's certain episodes I skip.
Certain episodes where they are procedural are great, and there's certain episodes that are do for skippable.
But with this, I'm like, it's funny, and I feel like it's going to be serialized one story.
Yeah, it's a continuation of what he's already done, and also leading to a movie that he's already at least thinking about and planning a build towards. I think I think they said it's 8 episodes, 2 dropping in August. At the end of August, which is cool.
We'll probably just watch probably watch the 2 and do one episode on the 2. Usually we split them out, but
I think we can just do one episode about the 2 because I'm pretty sure I'm off that day, so we can just go for as long as we need.
That means I gotta watch 2 in the morning. Okay.
we don't need to. We can start later. If I'm off, like we can start later and just go whenever. Cool. So we can figure out the scheduling.
I've spent spent most of my life fighting a war.
We've seen this shot before.
That's why I'm
Yeah.
trying.
Chopper's arms.
Chopper's arms. So
Uh,
next to Mon Mothma there on her left, is he's the senator from Hosnian Prime, who is Kazuda's dad from Star Wars Resistance, the forgotten animated show.
Right.
That's who that is. So it's, again, I don't think it'll be relevant, but it's just a neat little. He was a senator. He was with Mon Mothma. He was one of her people. Yeah, that's.
So what's kind of interesting here is, so this is definitely, they're talking to each other. At first we were like, oh, is this like a recording that they're now watching? This is a live conversation, which means they have now skipped over the Empire or the Return of the Jedi Mon Mothma, and have now had an actor play a character before and after
the original actor.
Someone else played it. I'm sure George Lucas would put her in.
Yeah, oh yeah, I think so. She'd
Return of the
get
Jedi.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen now, but interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can do.
I mean, the only other time that we've seen that, and we didn't see it in this sort of order, is Ian McDiarmid. Like, he played it earlier and later, but then he'd already been replaced into Empire Strikes Back. So
right. So I'm thinking that when it comes to Han Solo, a precedent has been set.
It has. I think there'd be an uproar. I wouldn't hate it, but I think that there would be an uproar.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything to the rumors, but there was some rumors, like relatively recently, a couple of weeks back, that they were considering using Anson in like whatever it was, something in the future for this sort of time frame. I don't hate it. I'm fine with it.
I always go back.
I think I'd prefer that to a de-aged Harrison Ford.
Yeah, the second time I watched Dial of Destiny, it looked better. And I don't know if it's because I saw it on IMAX or if it was projected better.
Okay,
or
yeah,
I was just used to it.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't have any problems with it the first time around. I've only seen it once, but I thought it looked amazing.
Yeah, we'll see.
Convince you to help me prevent another one.
Oh, they aged her up.
That makes sense.
They gave her white hair.
Yeah, I'm again fine with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Comic books, you have certain artists draw Spider-Man. Sometimes they draw him after a different person has drawn Spider-Man, and so it goes back.
And also, I feel like making her giving her a bit of a distinct look between Andor, where we're seeing her currently, and this, it just helps. It's visual cue, isn't it? It just helps people who aren't as steeped in it as we are. This really feels like, because this at this sort of time frame, like most of the New Republic they haven't fully disarmed, obviously. They've still got some military stuff out there, but Mon Mothma's whole thing is to be disarming and to just be removing weapons from the galaxy. Whereas it sounds like here, Hera is like, there is still a fight out there. Like, we can't be completely, like, I appreciate and applaud the idea, but there is still a fight. We still need to have some sort of military presence.
Yeah.
Because Hera's got to be quite a high up general at this point. Like, she was General Sandula.
Still wearing her flight jacket.
I mean, yeah, when you've got a cool flight jacket like that, you don't give it up.
It's like Maverick, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to go up in the ranks.
I mean, that's Wedge. That's Wedge's story. He always wants to be flying. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of Hera's look? I remember her eyes being so green. It looks. It's just strange. It's always weird with these.
When you get an animated character. So, did you see the thing recently about the Lego set?
No.
There was a Lego set for this show of the Ghost, and there was a little minifig of Jason Sandula. So and he's not got the green hair that he does in the epilogue, but yeah, it seems like Jason Sandula might be in this show, which would be great.
Fun.
Yeah,
that'd be great. We got to get Freddie Prinze Jr. in there, right?
I really hope so.
Like Force Ghost, it's got to be, or a communication or something.
I mean,
I don't think
he was already in Rise of Skywalker, so you know that they're willing to do that. So,
I mean, he just, like, I don't know. I feel like hearing his voice
Yeah.
It would be key.
Mm-hmm.
Would be key.
And I think more so than anyone
mixing up-
else, more so than anyone else on the crew, he's got an actor who you slot straight in there in the same way that you did with Katie Sackhoff and Bo. Like you could just slot the actor that you had in the animated straight into that role.
And Lars Mikkelsen.
And Lars Mikkelsen. Yeah, exactly.
We'll see in a second.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's still wearing her outfit.
Yeah.
What we got here? We got anything good?
Couple of droids, some New Republic officers.
There's
the
Return of the Jedi officers.
The droid from the Clone Wars, Haiyang, or whatever his name is, the one who's 25,000 years old.
Was that David Tennant?
The David Tennant droid. The one who we might see in the like old, like Dawn of the Jedi movie.
This is all stuff we've seen. This we have it. Okay, right.
There's an E-wing with a cool helmet that Sabine's wearing as well.
Okay, so seeing this highway in live action, well, I mean, it's still CG. It really, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been here before.
Yeah, right.
And it's like something out of a dream. This helmet though is amazing. It's like so that cool. Heavy metal Mobius, but it's got her. But it's like got her painted stuff
got
on
a loaf cat on there. Oh, apparently the Arabesh says babe. So she's great. She's got the like it's a very similar jacket to Hera's. She's got that split circle that like used to be a Republic thing. It used to be on all their ships. But I mean, she would have been a New Republic. She would have been at least a rebellion, and she was part of the rebellion. So she's got her jacket there.
Like, how many times have we seen them going up and down this road? They're like,
yeah,
the one thing. Oh
yeah, I mean, and it's so iconic that it's always someone racing against someone else, and there's a bit of a crash, or someone goes over the side. So even here, like, I don't think this is an antagonistic thing at all. I think this is just Sabine being Sabine.
How many Twitter banners is this?
It's great. It's so good.
Yeah.
Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him, just like I walked away from Sabine. You never made things easy for me.
Okay. That looks rad.
So cool. So cool. There, that droid as well.
A droid?
A droid with the Kenner triangles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I think it was Adam Fraser who first pointed out that I noticed. And yeah, it's the Kenner R2D2 had that exact look. Something that if you don't know it, if you didn't grow up with those toys, if you're not used to seeing that look, doesn't matter. It's just a different R2 unit or whatever unit. Like, but if you see it and you recognize it, it's such a neat little nod to all of that.
I like when they bring non-canon stuff into canon. And they do it in Rebels with the troop transports and stuff like that. We were watching the episode this morning where Ezra's on a Star Destroyer or whatever the name of the ship is, Thrawn's ship, and he's got
Chimera?
a bubble helmet.
Yeah.
It's got a bubble helmet, and I'm like, that's like the Mako Star Wars disco cover has that kind of an outfit, and I'm like, it almost like validates that record, and this validates your R2D2 Kenner version.
Exactly.
Like this can live on your shelf. Like that's not R2. But this is R2, but this guy can live on your shelf as this guy.
An astromech that happens to be slotted into a B-wing, an E-wing, sorry, that you haven't seen since the Dark Forces comic in 91 or something. Like it's great. Tristan's here and he's mentioned something that was in the dialogue where she walked Ahsoka's saying that she walked away from Sabine, implying that she trained her in lightsaber combat or ways of the Force. We don't ever see that. Like in Rebels, that's not a thing. Like they don't interact all that much. Like not one to one.
Right.
There's some stuff in between.
Stevie mentioned that Sabine calls Ahsoka master. For some reason I took it as like almost like a
mocking.
dig.
Yeah. Yeah.
because like she walked away from the Jedi Order,
Uh-huh.
like who does she think she is, sort of thing. Like,
Yeah, you're
oh,
no master.
okay,
Like,
okay,
yeah.
master, yeah. But then also we do see Sabine with a lightsaber.
So there's
which-
two. I think that this is two different times. I think Ahsoka has gone to Sabine a couple of times. There's one time when she's gone. It might be this. She's gone. Maybe they did some training. Maybe they're like, hey, look, if you're gonna have this lightsaber and be in charge of all of this, you could do with some training. I know that you had the dark saber for a little bit. You're not bad with a blade, but you could do with some training. They butted heads and she left because Sabine is very stubborn. So Ahsoka was like, you're not a Jedi. I don't need to be any part of this. I'm out. See you later. Good luck. And now she's going to go back because she needs her help. And that's when we get the scene up on the landing platform because she's arriving in a different ship.
I'm gonna look at this scene again real quick with them at the table.
You never made things easy for me,
Is she?
Master.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is gonna be wild.
Yeah.
It's both of them sitting at a table, but when she says Master, Ahsoka's standing up. Like
It's trailer editing, isn't it? Yeah, for sure.
Maybe she's not talking to Ahsoka. Maybe she's talking to Kanan. Because she would call Kanan Master.
And she did train with him.
Yeah. So I don't know. That we'll see what happens with that.
Mm.
I think
there's almost certainly a holocron floating around in that tower somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a different.
But if you take it as face value, well, first of all, the hologram on the table looks like that place where we saw them doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when she does say Master, Ahsoka turns around like, "What the fuck did you just say?"
Yeah, I'll slap the shit out.
As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision.
Okay, so this dude playing Ezra, I don't know who he is.
I think he was he Aladdin? Was he the live action Aladdin? I don't know. I didn't see it.
I'm not sure, but we saw him in the trailer. I'm like, okay, I guess that guy's Ezra or whatever. Listening to him this time, hearing him, I'm like, oh, he sounds good. Yeah. It does sound like it doesn't sound like a few
years. Yeah.
So now I'm like totally on board with this dude. I was like, who's this guy? That's not Ezra.
Hashtag
I'm still trying to get. Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to Hera and stuff and Sabine.
It's just a transition to live action, isn't it? I think the more I've seen of Sabine now, the more I'm like, yep, 100% that's Sabine, especially when she cuts the hair. Like as soon as she's got the short hair, I'm like, yeah, no, that's yeah. I've heard a few people sort of.
No one else can.
Hey, yeah, this is great. So much like Kanan as well, with him sat there cutting the hair, like
right. Do you think when she's sitting there in front of them, I mean, I feel like
it's her realizing that she can't just sit up in that tower. It's the call to adventure. It's.
I feel like everybody needs to convince her. So the recording of Ezra, the Mandalorian helmet, Ahsoka, and Hera have all tried to get her out of here, and I'm thinking Kanan might be the one because she's in front of the mural, which I love, by the way.
It's so good. That was one of my highlights of Celebration was getting the picture with it.
It's so good because it almost makes it like after all this is said and done, there's a storybook or a journal that Sabine has kind of written down, and that's what Rebels is.
Yeah. It's her interpretation of it. It's her telling of the story. It's when they were first promoting and talking about Rebels back in 2013 into 2014 maybe, and they said like, yeah, there's a young like teenage Mandalorian girl who's all about like graffiti and stuff. I was like, oh god, here we go. It was a big groan moment, and then the character very, very quickly grew on me, and she is possibly my favorite character in Rebels. I don't know.
Yeah, she might be right now where I am. Probably.
Yeah, she's right up there. She's got such a good story in the course of that show. And now when I look at her artwork in this and on the helmets and on armor that we see, like I think they lose their TIE fighter in the show, but like if we saw her like graffitiing over a TIE fighter or an A-wing or something, like That'd be so good because it just has a different palette than everything else, but it still feels like it fits into that world.
Yeah. I
Love
like
it.
this with Ezra looking over her. It's it's so good.
Mhm.
Rebels is so good. Again,
Mhm.
if you haven't seen Rebels,
It's top tier
it's
Star Wars.
it is. It
It really
is.
is. It's up there. Like I, in the same way that we talk about how good Andor is and it being like top tier Star Wars. It's yeah.
Because like I wasn't really into like Chopper at the beginning. I really wasn't into like it just felt like they're using Zeb just because it's a Macquarie design of Chewbacca. And
Mhm.
but by the time you start getting into the characters, and I say it probably takes like maybe like 3 or 4 episodes where they stop just being like Ezra and Zeb hate each other and they're butting heads and they don't get along. Like once you start getting past that kind of stuff and you
And
start getting into the mythology and the characters'
yeah.
backgrounds, it's
And
really
they
good.
do that. They don't ever give that up, but it becomes instead of a oh I hate him, it's very much a big brother little brother relationship of we're
Yeah,
gonna annoy the crap out of each other always.
yeah.
But yeah, it's only a few episodes into the show that Zeb will saves Ezra and he's like, I got you, kid. Like it's that of course when push comes to shove, they're ride or die for each other. Like, yeah, it's great.
I mean, if this Rebel story ends with her having a journal with all the sketches in it and it like like it closing like
Mm-hmm.
with that story to make it that's kind of what they how you saw No Time to Die, right?
Mhm.
Where at the end Madeline Swan says, let me tell you the story of a man named James Bond. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so now she's gonna go and tell Matilda all the stories from Dr. No to Die Another Day.
Mm.
um
Yeah.
but it has that like I'm hoping that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
We saw with like Into the Spider-Verse where they're able to do animation exists in the same universe as live action stuff.
Yeah. Why
And
not?
I want that to be this, and I want the Clone Wars to be a similar thing where it's like
Mm.
these are stories they're just literally told through
Either through
an
Rex and the
animated
clone
series
side of
within.
Ang. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I can't believe like Filoni is like, yeah, we'll just do it exactly how it looked in the show in Rebels, and we'll just make the mural look the same. This is great. Oh, that's him in the Ghost.
Was it the Ghost?
Is the Ghost in this trailer?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Have
We
we
see it.
seen the okay?
We see the Phantom 2, and so I don't know if we saw the Ghost, but yeah, I mean the Phantom 2's
Yeah,
in there,
it's
so
a
the
Ghost.
Ghost is gonna be yeah.
No, but I'm just wondering if we've seen it.
Or is it? No, I don't think it is.
recall
I think
seeing
this
it.
is. I think because that's the Purrgil that they're flying directly towards. I don't know. It's not. We see
Oh,
them
no,
later
that
on.
was it. Oh, do we?
Sometimes
Yeah.
we have to do what's right, regardless of our personal feelings.
There you go. I think it's that.
Okay, hold on.
I think it's
But
that Republic
suit,
cruiser, the one that we see Ahsoka arrive in at the end of Rebels.
this Ahsoka in the flight suit is the best. I love
It's cool.
that.
It's different, and again, it's
Yeah.
that New Republic look. Like it's that all that blue that we've seen now,
Yeah.
and they've established that as a New Republic flight suit.
I didn't see the Purrgil.
You do. keep watching.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
There.
oh,
If we don't stop Thrawn, everything.
what do you think?
It's great.
Yeah, he looks like him.
It's us Thrawn. Like
It's really weird seeing him in live action. It's really weird.
Yeah.
This is a dude that was
Seen
on
him
covers,
book covers
like
in
30 years ago.
more. Yeah.
32?
Yeah, it would be. Was it 90 or 91 that
I think
RTM
it was 91.
I think it was 91. I've always said 91.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's spot on.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Tristan's just mentioned here, can't wait to hear the voice. I completely agree with you. But
And it's
again,
the same voice,
we
which is
already know
great.
what it sounds like, which is like
Yeah.
there won't be that shock. We've already heard it, and it sounds great. It's yeah.
And he came in late in the series, so I'm wondering if
Yeah.
they
I was in the
started
room.
casting
I've seen it
people.
before. Like I've maybe I don't know. I don't think they were. I think they were done at the end of Rebels. I think they didn't think that they were going to be doing any more. I think it's one of those things that Filoni always hoped to be able to do more, but it was closed enough, but left open enough that if they could, they would do more.
Yeah.
Will be in vain. You have
So she's not trying to use the Force, is she?
I don't know. I mean, if you before this trailer, if I'd seen that screenshot, I'd have been like, no, of course not. But with all the talk of Master and walking away from her training and things like this, it's
The
like,
green lightsaber.
yeah, I mean, that's Ezra's lightsaber for sure. That's Ezra's lightsaber.
But wouldn't Ezra's lightsaber be with him? I don't
Think
remember.
he took it. No, because he turned himself in. He was a
Got it.
captive. Like, so I think he
Okay.
left it, and I think he left it with Sabine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's wielded the dark saber, which is hard to do. So
Mhm.
I'm sure regular lightsabers.
And she trained with it.
Spoke highly of you.
No, she ends up at this place.
That's what I'm saying. So this isn't the world between worlds. This is just in that
Oh.
that temple thing.
Oh, that's not the ghost.
No, that's that same thing. Is that same planet?
So,
I know this looks like
that temple one
from the first
from
trailer.
the first trailer.
Yeah. For sure.
What? Yeah, I don't think we've seen the ghost yet.
Discuss my past.
We did in the first trailer.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
But just the Phantom, though, right?
I'm sure we saw the ghost in the first trailer. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure that we saw it.
I love this trailer. It's mostly like it's 4 main female characters.
Absolutely.
It's the Sith, the
Like
Sith girl.
Ray Stevenson's in there, but like other than that, it's yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of, it's not just female characters, it's female characters of color. Like
Yeah,
it's of various colors.
orange,
Green.
orange, green. Was that another Mando, or is that Sabine? What am I looking at here?
I think
Who's
that's Sabine because she's wearing that brown jacket that we saw in the earlier shot when they were flying. And I think she's in that and she's just put her helmet on at the start of that fight, I assume.
Robots, spaceships, explosions. Oh boy,
Inquisitor.
So is this Ray Stevenson? Is this a flashback? What are we seeing? I don't know.
There's talk that there was an Inquisitor that we saw on Malachor, where like they were fighting Maul, and he essentially gets thrown off of the side of that temple and then never seen again. He's never in the show again. Had the same helmet design as this guy.
Got it. Okay.
So, and Ahsoka was there, so probably he's just really pissed at Ahsoka.
Right.
Who knows? I feel like it's going to be like one of those, like a minor boss fight.
I feel like this is maybe opens the series.
Could be. Could very
Get
well
rid
be.
of this guy, close that loop, and then
I know a lot of people have been echoing Tristan's hopes here that it's Barriss or is Barriss Offee, or something related to her. I feel like that storyline, I don't think we're going to get any of it. Personally, I don't think we're going to get any of it in this. But they've talked about this show and how everyone involved seems to want to do more. They all want a second season of it. I feel like it's kind of a given if
movie.
Yeah, it's one of those
I
things
want
that
this movie
depending
so
on where
bad.
yeah, I think this might be the movie that I'm the most excited about at the moment of the 3.
I think it's the only one that I think is actually going to happen.
It's definitely the one that is like sure, that's absolutely going to happen. You've got all the cast,
Right.
they're already there. You just like you could probably do it whenever they wanted. Whereas the others are, I hope.
And I just want to say, like, I'm excited about Kevin Kiner doing the score. He did all of Rebels, all of Clone Wars, and Bad Batch. He's like the Star Wars TV guy. When Rebels first started, I hated the score. I absolutely hated it because they just took John Williams cues and used synthesizers and samples and stuff. And I'm like, what is even the point? But man, about like you get like into the second season and it's just all original music. This last episode I saw with the bubble helmets and stuff, I was like, holy crap, this score is really good.
And when you get the
And
themes, like you get Ahsoka's theme, and like I noticed it more this time around. We watched the end of season 1 just after Glastonbury, and I was on a massive come down from that weekend as we were watching that, and Ahsoka coming down that ladder and her music building up, like I was in tears. I was just like, And I've watched that so many times. I'm like, I know that Ahsoka's coming down those steps. I know that it's coming. And I like Ahsoka a lot, but it's not like my favorite character. It's
Right.
not like Luke arriving or Han showing up in Rise of Skywalker or anything like that. But still, I was getting tears in my eyes because of that score, I think, more than anything else.
The character's been around for at least 15 years.
Exactly. It was
I don't know when that Clone Wars movie came out.
2008 is the movie.
Yeah.
I was at Celebration in LA in 2007 when they were first showing trailers and they first showed her there. And I was like, no, this doesn't look like it's for me.
She's a real go-getter. She's almost like a
plucky
teen.
She's a plucky sidekick.
Teenage sidekick to Anakin. It's a little much. But I mean, you go with a character for this long, you're gonna feel something.
For sure. Yeah. A character that's had such a good arc.
Yeah.
Well,
so August 23rd.
I'm gonna bring up my calendar literally right now because I'm pretty sure we've already done this. And then I'm gonna have to run because I've just looked at the time.
Our recording, we started a little bit late today.
I've got that day and I've got the 24th off. So if we wanted to do 2 episodes, like 23rd and 24th, we could. Or we could just start late on the 23rd, so you don't have to get up so early.
Right.
And start late and go late.
I would get it at the same time. I would just watch 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
Let's do that.
We can just do both.
We'll be here. Tristan's booked the day off. Amazing. Great. It'll be great. It looks
you gotta
amazing.
get running.
I can't wait. I gotta get running. In 2 weeks' time, we will be back with a regular episode, and I think we should do Secrets of the Force Awakens: A Cinematic Journey.
Okay. Is that the main documentary?
I assume so, but it's on our list, and we haven't really talked about The Force Awakens or anything from there for a while. So yeah, that's
covered the movie. We haven't even covered the movie, right? I don't recall ever. I think our first sequel trilogy was we've only done Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do that. Cool. We'll do that. And next week on probably Monday or Tuesday, we'll figure out the day. Let's just do a data link and talk about indie.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Pay attention to the socials. That's where you'll find out exactly when we're doing it. We're still on Twitter. We might be the last ones, but we're still there. Ralph's on Blue Sky as well, so follow Ralph on Blue Sky if you've got your invite.
There's no one else over there. It's me talking to myself.
Awesome.
But it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, sounds great.
It feels better. It feels better not being on Twitter. But
I'm not gonna be joining Threads though. I've already.
I opened it up and it was bad. It was real bad.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Don't give in to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.